So, lunches. They can be such a struggle. They come right in the middle of the day. You probably have projects going or work started. You probably even have your kids sitting at the kitchen table doing their schoolwork. It's just not the best time of day to be thinking about food. And I have seen a lot of videos on YouTube about easy and fun and kid-friendly packed lunches. But what if you have the privilege of eating lunch in your own home? And yes, I'm going to call it a privilege. I know it might not be all of our first choices, but it is nice when you can eat at home. And so I'm going to share with you a bunch of different lunch ideas that I cook right here at home for me and my kids. Now, my name is Megan Fox. If you're new here, I have a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old. So I'm not in the necessarily school lunch phase yet, but we do eat lunch at home every day. So I feel very qualified to share about this topic. If you've been following me lately, you'll know that I have my hands in a lot of different kettles, so I do not take a ton of time with lunches. I feel like the lunches that we eat are delicious and yummy and the kids are excited for it, but if they are quick and simple, they definitely make it at the top of my lunch list. So I just mixed up a batch of salt pretzel dough, which I will put the recipe down below, and I'm just waiting for my dough to rise. I'm going to turn these into stuffed salt pretzels for lunch. And then after that, I'm going to show you a whole bunch more lunch ideas that I've been making lately, so make sure you stick around. Let's go. Now, for these stuffed salt pretzels, you are going to want sliced cheese and sliced ham. Shredded cheese and chipped ham are not going to work as well, and you'll see in a minute. So I'm just taking this deli honey ham, about 1 piece, and I'm just wrapping it up in a cheddar cheese slice, and I'm just going to prepare these like this so that after my dough is doubled, I'll be able to slap these things together really quickly. I love this lunch option because it goes so well with just a veggie tray and dip, and then you have your meat and your cheese with your carby salt pretzels, and it's just delicious. So this whole video is not going to be chit-chatty. It is a cooking video, but I thought I'd just take this time here to talk to all of you that are at home with children. I know it can be a thankless job. There's not people around that, you know, see all the stuff you go through. It's a very hard day to structure. If you like structure, children just have a way of, you know, making it flexible. And for those of you moms that are trying to do remote learning or homeschooling for the first time, I can only imagine the struggles that you guys endure. So I think it's really, really nice to have a couple quick, easy lunch options that you just are your go-to. You go back to them pretty often. And for our family, granted my kids are only 1 and 2, but for our family it really works to just eat the same thing for lunch a whole week in a row and then go for groceries and start the whole process over again with something else. Sometimes a recipe won't be enough for all week long, so sometimes it'll just be 2 or 3 days of the same thing. But I highly encourage you to try it, even though it sounds maybe a little bit unusual or slightly cruel. It's not. Your kids will not care at all, especially if you're picking meals that they enjoy. And right now we need to just work with the time that we have and to not put too much pressure on ourselves, especially when it comes to making lunches for our family. Question of the video, do you guys pack lunches or are you able to eat from home? Is your husband working from home too? Are you even married? Let me know your whole lunch situation down below. Are you brown bagging it or are you making hot meals? By the way, some of these lunch options are definitely easy to take with you on the go, just like these salt pretzels. These stuffed salt pretzels would be a great thing to take with you, as long as you have access to a microwave or a toaster oven. Okay, this dough is about risen till double. It is a little bit sticky, so I'm just gonna add a little sprinkling of flour. This is just the all-purpose flour. I'm just gonna divide this up into about 12 equal portions. Okay, and then you just wanna flatten it out or roll it out, however you want to. There you go, just to get it kind of a rectangle. And then I'm just gonna take my cheese ham log here, I guess you could call it, and just tuck everything up around. It will rise in the oven and stuff, so it doesn't have to look that pretty. It will kind of correct itself. So it looks like that. Pop it on a sheet. I'm just gonna keep going here for a couple more. And you can obviously fill these with whatever you jolly well want, any kind of cheese, any kind of meat. You could do ham and Swiss, roast beef and cheddar. You could even put sauce in these and do like a pizza-y version. I just really like the ham and cheese ones because they go together so nice and I don't know, they're delicious dipped in honey mustard and they look really nice because you're using sliced cheese and sliced ham and you're not getting all that lumpy stuff with the shredded cheese and things like that. But yeah, go to town, vegetables even. You can make these like little mini strombolis. The options are endless. Okay, then you don't really have to let them rise or anything. They're gonna rise naturally a little bit on the pan while they're sitting there waiting for you to get them finished. But then you're just gonna take a tablespoon of baking soda and put it in a cup and a half of hot water. And I have discovered that this is to keep them nice and brown. I was never sure of this step and what the deal is with it, but that's what people were telling me. It makes them nice and brown, otherwise they just look like dough, if you know what I'm saying. So, I'm just gonna take these one at a time and dunk them in. And then after I have that all done, I will dry my hands off and I will sprinkle everything with some pretzel salt. And although these do take a couple steps, you're gonna find that they are actually really quick and easy to make, especially compared to soft pretzels. There's no shaping or anything like that. And yeah, it doesn't take long at all. Okay, time for the salt. The more salt, the better. Yes, me. And an air-baked cookie sheet is just ideal. You don't burn things, they're so nice. I will link some down below. And then into the oven for 5 to 8 minutes till they're nice and brown. You could dip them in honey mustard, plain mustard, ranch, pizza sauce. Hey, whatever you're feeling. And then I'm just gonna paint them with some butter to get them nice and shiny. Oh man, that looks so good. Smells amazing. You guys are gonna love these. Please tag me on Instagram and share them in your stories. If you make these, I would love to see your recreations. So we just got home from church and I like to do really fast, quick lunches on Sundays. So I thought I would show you this quick and easy spin on a regular old sandwich. Now, this will take a panini press or a sandwich press. If you don't have one, that's fine. You can use just a regular pan and make it like a grilled cheese. But this is like a turkey pesto panini, I guess is what I'm gonna call it. All it takes is some rye toast, some turkey meat, bacon, cheese, tomato, and I did not have a big tomato right now, so I just chopped up some cherry tomatoes. That'll be fine. And then you can either make pesto mayo or do what I'm doing right now, which is I'm just spreading each side of my rye toast. One side gets the mayo and then the other side gets the pesto. So you kind of get the same flavors without having to actually make pesto mayo. And I'm using Aldi's brand, their green pesto. And yeah, I really like this. And a tip that I would say, if you don't use it all at once, like I rarely ever do, freeze them in little ice cube trays, pop them out, and then store them in the freezer for when you want to use them again. So to make these paninis, I like to do 2 kinds of cheese. I'm using mozzarella and cheddar here, and I just do one on each side. And then I also just layered turkey, bacon, and tomato on the sandwiches. So it's kind of like just a really fancy toasted cheese, I guess you could say. And if you were wondering about a panini maker, I don't think you need to necessarily run out and grab one, but if you find yourself wishing for one pretty often, Black Friday is coming up here, and I think I got mine for like 10 bucks at Kohl's on Black Friday. They often have good like sales on their waffle irons, panini presses, and things like that. So maybe if that's something you think you're wanting, I would suggest waiting till then and snatch one up for a deal. And I skipped the tomatoes on the one because Josh is not a fan. And the way I make my bacon is I just fry it up in a pan in the oven. It's so much less mess. And I will say for these, for the kids' panini, I'm going to break up the pieces a little bit so that they don't have to try to bite into the bacon. It makes it so much easier on their little teeth. And you know what? I think I'm gonna add an extra slab of cheese for good measure on each of these, just so that they're nice and gooey. Now, if you're gonna eat these plain, I would suggest going a little heavier on the mayo and the pesto, but we're gonna dip ours in tomato bisque tomato soup. I'll show you that recipe really quickly, and then I will show you how I get these paninis fried up. Okay, so to make this tomato soup, you're gonna need 2 cans of bought tomato soup. See, it's not totally from scratch. And then 2 cans of diced tomatoes, which I couldn't find any at Aldi, but I did find stewed tomatoes, and those worked actually pretty well. I just had to dice them up a little bit. Also, you'll need some milk, and then I just have a bunch of seasonings, basil, paprika, garlic powder, and then what makes it really good is some pepper jack cheese. I'll put the recipe down below along with all the other ones, but it's also going to ask for some onion, and I just skipped that and did some onion salt. But if you're an onion person, this does call for onions.
Should I put a whole bunch?
Yep, dump the whole thing in and then do the next can too. And I wish I could say that Evonnie loved this soup. She wasn't a huge fan, but she did enjoy helping me make it. And so I thought that would probably help her to like tomatoes a little bit more by helping me cook with them. Yeah, that didn't work this time. But my son loves tomatoes, and Evonnie used to love tomatoes, so I'm not giving up hope yet. Hopefully she'll come back around one of these days. Okay, I'm gonna stir it a little bit.
Yeah.
Then Mommy will put the spices in. And you could skip the pepper jack cheese and just do Monterey Jack or something like that if you didn't want the spice, but boy, that pepper jack cheese just adds a nice little bit of heat, but not too much. And you put the cheese in at the end, so it's kind of like lumpy and gooey blobs of cheese right there in the soup that you can easily pick around if you're trying to feed this to younger kids. Okay, so I'm just gonna spray my panini press with whatever spray you prefer. This is just the original. And then mine fits 2 sandwiches at a time. So I'm just gonna pop them on there. Listen to the sizzle. Okay, and then I'm just gonna press it down slowly, just to get some air out of the bread and stuff. Get the cheese sticking everything together. Okay, now I'll just leave it for a minute or 2. Okay, so here they are. They're looking a little bit toasty. The cheese is melting. And I think I forgot to say that if I had some spinach, like fresh spinach in my fridge, I'd put that in here too yet, just for some greens. I don't have any right now, so it's not gonna get that in. These paninis with the tomato soup are the perfect duo, I think, for a delicious and easy lunch. Now, the tomato soup lasts for us a couple days in a row, and I like to add some sour cream and a little bit of pesto to the soup just for some garnish. Also, let me just say right now that I recommend you do not use cherry tomatoes. They just kept falling out and making a big mess, but hey, they tasted good and that's what counts. So I highly recommend you try these recipes, especially going into fall. I feel like this is a perfect option for a stay-at-home autumn lunch. So another lunch idea I love to do is, I guess I'll call it a charcuterie board. That sounds really a lot fancier than it really is. But I have 2 toddlers, so you can't just like throw the food out on the table and just like let them go at it. They mix things together, they make a big mess. So something I've learned to do, I like to put them in a cupcake pan with liners and then just put a little bit of something in each one. I found that this helps a lot with like making food get mixed up. Also helps with clean up. The kids are just playing with Play-Doh over there. And I like to do this meal especially like the day before I go grocery shopping. Just so I can clean up all the little leftovers out of the fridge. So this ham is probably good for only like another day or 2. Another item that I got that's a little unusual, I never bought these before, it's these organic carrot chips. Uh-oh. No. I just feel like it's a way to make carrots more fun, and there's like purple and red and green ones, so that's fun. So I just put a few in one of those. Evonnie loves snow peas. And then the beauty of the cupcake liner is that you can just put dip right in the cupcake liner, and they can dip right like that. We've been working on double dipping, right, Bonnie? Oh, Fletcher's making a mess. Have we been learning about double dipping? She's like the double dipping police. If Josh tries to double dip, she calls him out. Oh, it's a porcupine. Good job. I think I forgot to mention that it is a rainy day, so I've been looking for things to do to break it up a little bit. There you go. Chick-fil-A sauce is always a good dipping choice. And also I found the trick is don't include the dessert or like the sweet stuff with this, because that's what they're gonna eat and fill up on. I don't know. I usually just give that to them at the end. You're putting a whole bunch in? So a super pretty and colorful meal. This is a dipping sauce. This is a dipping sauce. We have meat, olives, a couple different kinds of veggies, some eggs. And yeah, you just kind of have to play around with it till you see how much your kids eat. Oh, we have some berries here. And I didn't add the cookies to this. We'll have them later if they're still hungry. So, super easy and colorful lunch. I like to just leave everything on the counter in case I have to gotta run back for something, or they want refills, or they're really loving the blackberries or something, get more of them. It's just hard at this age too to gauge how much they're gonna eat. Sometimes I way overshoot it, and then sometimes I am not, you know, I don't plan for enough.
Mmm.
Evonnie, why aren't you eating the yellow parts? You don't like the yolks? Fletcher, are you just eating Chick-fil-A sauce? Also, the beauty of just having a blanket down so they can wipe their fingers on it. It can get gross, whatever, you just throw it in the wash. And yeah, you're good to go. Also, thank you to whichever subscriber sent me a big box of like linens and tablecloths and things like that. We use them, like it's great. Thank you so much. Okay, Vonnie, you show everybody how you don't double dip. Show everybody how to do it.
Very good. Go, go.
And then what? What did you do? You turned it around, huh? Oh my, can you tell that double dipping grosses me out? And another condiment that works really well with this type of meal is Italian dressing. My kids love Italian dressing on pretty much everything. It is a little bit messier because it's runnier, but if you don't feel like messing with a bunch of different kinds of dip, Italian dressing will do the job. And here's the remains. I overshot on the ranch dip, and I should have got more Chick-fil-A sauce because that's actually their second helping of that. Yes. And the hard-boiled eggs were a hit with Evonnie, but she didn't want to eat the yolks. She doesn't love the yolks. I make her sometimes. Ooh, cheese, Fletcher. Yummy, yummy.
I like cheese.
Are you just eating the Chick-fil-A sauce? You must eat the actual cheese. Okay, buddy? Okay, are we all done? Let's clean up. Here's another less pretty version of our charcuterie board. I just give them a plate, and then they have meat and cheese squares, a hard-boiled egg with everything with a bagel seasoning on it, and they're dipping everything in Italian dressing, also the carrot chips. Yummy! And I had some lunch meat that I was like, we have to eat it up in the next about 3 or 4 days, and I still have some left, so I thought I'd give them some of that too. How is it, Vonnie?
I like it.
That's good.
I like that.
Yeah, I think they like these meals, especially because then they have choices a little bit more. I mean, they still have to eat some of everything, but yeah, easy, easy. Here's another super quick lunch that I just pulled out of the oven. It is just a sheet pan dinner. I did kielbasa and sausage, broccoli, and sweet potato. And I will put down below everything that I put on here. Thyme, rosemary, oregano, brown sugar, salt and pepper, minced garlic, and a squeeze of lemon juice, and some seasoned salt, some things like that. So yeah, this is such an easy thing to make ahead, and then you have it all week, and you can eat it. Yeah, this will probably last us maybe 3 lunches. So here's our kitchen looks in the middle of the day. We just stop, pause, eat our lunch. Vonnie, what do you think? Why don't you use your fork? I had to cut up the sausage for Fletcher, but other than that, super kid friendly. And then here are the leftovers. I'll just pop them in the fridge and reheat them, you know, for the next lunch. And then since I lined everything with tin foil, it should be relatively easy to clean up. This is my ugly jelly roll pan. That's what I like to call it. So I don't baby this one as much. It's pretty old. But I lined it with tin foil, and I'll just pull this up, and it should be a lot easier to clean. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you found it helpful. Could you guys quickly do me a little favor and check down below that you are subscribed and that you have that little bell button clicked to all. There's a lot of hoops to jump through here with YouTube if you want to be notified of new videos. I post every Thursday. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next one. Happy lunching.